Zoom recording. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I just got done trimming the left front. The left, let's see, is it the, what is it? No, right front. And the right front is the foot that is the most advanced because I have been working on it the longest in regards to this whole periople foot binding thing that's going on, that has revealed itself in the last year. So now that
Linda, are you showing any pictures besides
no, not yet.
Okay,
not yet. I will here in a minute. And I'm just gonna I'll share some of the stuff I saw in this trim, but also today what I'm going to do is unfortunately I have to go back through all the stuff that I did in the first session because it did not record right. None of the audio was there. Make me cry. But that's all right. So you two might be the only two here, and so that's good. And so what I'll do is I'm just gonna, we're just gonna sit here as friends, and I'm gonna fully try and explain to you how TACT, the anatomically correct trim, has changed, and the things that we're gonna add to it, and the things that I learned in the past year, and that I am still learning about restoring these feet. So let me go to photos just a second here. I hope this records decently. I may open up Camtasia and record on it too, because if I remember right, Zoom's recording is pretty lousy. So let me get that going. There we go. Okay. Screen. Make it big enough. Okay, so what I want to go through today is I want to go through explaining the new part of the anatomically correct trim with the new understanding. See, there's always new parts whenever you come to a new understanding of a part of the foot. And unlike most trims, we have been trimming the frogs. So really, technically, we've had semi-healthy frogs, some trimming more than others. But in the last year, I have learned that, man, you really have to get down to live frog. And something else I've learned is that the more you trim the frog, the more they grow. I mean, they grow like crazy. I just trimmed my horse. I trimmed all 4 feet. It was amazing feet. Amazing feet, no pun intended. I think about 5 days ago. But at the time, I was looking at the bars and the heels, and I noticed when I take a photo of the medial side of the right front foot that it really looks like that heel is being held forward and kind of bound up. And so I've been trying to think of some things I could do to release that heel. So that's what I was working on today. And the thing that is amazing, so I'm going to go to my last trim and I'm going to show you how I trimmed up the frog. And then I'm going to show you how much frog grew in a very short period of time. So let me see here. Okay, this is this today? Let me me see here. Oh, I need to share. Hold on. Remind me if I'm not screen sharing with you there. Okay, so this is today, I do believe. Let me see. For sure. Yeah, it's the 20th. And let's see here. Let me see when I trimmed last, because I want to show you what the foot looked like. All this thing. My pictures are being weird. Let's see, what is this? Just a second here. Okay, the 14th. I trimmed him the 14th. And so I'm going to show you, oops, some music came from somewhere and I don't know where. Hold on. Oh, it's an ad. Just a minute. Okay, there we go. Just a second, I'll get these pictures up here. I wish I could do 2 screens at the same time, because I could always take a picture of them. Okay, just a second. I'm going to have to take a picture of them because it won't let me do 2 screens at the same time. But every time I leave the trim, I leave it looking like this. Just a second. New share. Okay, you see that foot there? Okay, and so I take my finger, because I use you can use a knife, and we're going to try and think of other ways to do this, like maybe using wood rafts or something like that, where you can sand down the frog or something. But every time I leave the frog, I want to clean out this area here, clear up into here, because your periople grows, your periople corium is right here. And so it attaches the skin to the capsule, and then it grows this skin here, and then around, the whole top of the hoof there. And so it is this part, well, all of this right here, that gets pulled in to the central sulcus, and then this periople grows over it and binds it, and you don't even know this is going on. And it just, it's there for a reason, that when the horse's feet are being worn out, or different things, growing long, collapsing forward, that skin goes to work to hold the capsule on the foot as much as possible. And so there's so many multiple versions of a false foot as this thing gets smaller. And as these bulbs are pulled in here, it strips the real frog out from the central sulcus. Let's look at just a second here.
Linda,
Yeah.
remember I had text you where exactly, okay, I see where the periople grows from the hairline down and all around the foot. Now, from there, where does the frog start growing? Like, how do they become attached?
Okay, let me show you.
Or am I saying it right?
Yeah, you're saying it right. Let me show you this other picture.
Okay.
Just a second here. Okay. New share. I was about to go to this anyway. Okay. Okay. You see this here? Your frog grows from here, all in here, and over to here. And then your heel buttress grows from right here And then your frog is growing all in here, but you see where I cut it here, there, your periople corium is right there. And you see, it's really seamless. See how seamless that
Okay.
is? And
So
that's,
so
go
it's
ahead.
almost like that they're attached. Well, they're oh god, glued, let's say glued together, and then they start growing in their opposite directions. Like one's growing, the frog is growing from the bottom of the periople band where it's supposed to be.
Well, not
to
the
that,
periople, no. See, your periople is just right here.
yeah.
Okay. And it grows a layer over the back of the frog and over the back of the foot. It's not at all, it's not supposed to be under the foot. It crowns the whole foot. See, let me get some more pictures over here. Like here, you wouldn't even see it. All right, here, y'all, you're gonna see is where the frog grew. Well, you can barely see a little line right there. See it? See that little
Okay,
thing right
yep.
there? That is the periople, and it is only supposed to grow around the outside, like your frog, it'd be right here, and it would have just a thin layer of periople over the back, covering it up where it grew in from here. I'll show you here in a minute, because this is one of the few feet you'll find that hasn't been deformed. Okay.
So what you're saying then is the frog is growing towards the apex. Okay,
no, it's
it grows,
grown straight up. Okay. The horn
okay.
tubules go straight up. Like,
So
like
how in essence is the periople getting pulled under? Does it attach? Is it attaching itself to the frog and then getting pulled under?
it's all attached together. Yeah, you see, the way it gets pulled under is when you trim the heel buttress out. Well, this all gets pulled down and starts to get pulled in this way and under the foot. And since it's attached back here, it just, all of it gets shoved around like this. These bulbs that are right here and the heel buttress gets pulled in this way too. This is the heel buttress corium and the bar corium right here. Here's the wall corium. Right there's the wall corium from the coronary band. Here's where your heel buttress grows from, right here. You see how seamless this is?
Yes.
Okay. Hard to even tell what's what sometimes, you know. Here's your bar lamina. Your heel buttress grows here, this big triangular chunk of heel buttress, and then it attaches to your heel. Here's your heel, your physical heel. Here's the sole of your physical heel. Let me do some annotation here. See, it really helps to know the parts in here, because since all of this here is cartilage and fat, it can all be moved and deformed and distorted and compressed. Okay, so all of this here, oh, I wonder if all of this here, all of this gets pulled in this way. What happens is the frog that's in here, a lot of it gets stripped out or it gets shoved upward into the foot. Okay, because well, think about it. All this is being pulled in like this. Okay, and forward. So this is getting shorter and shorter this way. And then your capsule, once you get your heel buttress trimmed out, then your side wall here joins with the bar wall here, and you get a false heel. See, you haven't got any more heel buttress. It's been pulled into here. Pulled in that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll look at some pictures of that. Where is undo? And so that capsule is meant to grow according to the shape of this foot. And so if it's trimmed wrong, since this is all cartilage and fat, it changes the shape of this foot. Well, then it all grows in the shape that it's been changed to, and it's held there by the growth. And so we've been trimming the wall and the bars and making boundaries and grow and heal. But what we didn't know was that we had old frog and periople, and that these bulbs were spun in here, and it was all wrapped up into one nice little package that you couldn't even tell it was happening until you start trimming this away. And then you find out there's a lot more going on there than what you thought. And so a lot of us, I know I had problems with restoration. I would go forward in the wet season and backward in the dry season. Why is that? Because periople absorbs water and expands. And then when it dries out, it shrinks. And so because this all got pulled in like that, and this periople got pulled into here, it was growing over my whole frog. And on some feet, it'll grow similar to frog. And plus it kind of mixes up with the frog tubules. So you have a combination of frog and periople growing on this thing. But the thing is, what it does is it will not, then if it's like that, it will not release your foot to grow correctly. So what we're doing, just a minute here, is we're just releasing the distorted hoof capsule, which will help the foot release to grow it from a different position. And then we trim it some more and let it grow some more so the foot can move some more, so that we can get the boundaries correct. And then we see it goes back and forth. Foot moves a little, unbinds, grows capsule from a different position. We trim it back to boundaries. It releases the foot a little more. The foot grows it in a little better position. And then we come back and trim it again and renew the boundaries, and it releases a little bit of that foot. And then we wait again, and the foot grows it from a new position. You see it's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until finally this foot is not distorted anymore, and it is growing that capsule from the correct position. And then you can let all that grow in and establish. And then when you let this frog finally grow in, when all of this frog corium is in the correct place, then the frog will make the foot stay there. See, I don't like the way they name things. Like, okay, you know, they'll call this area the central sulcus on the frog. And of course, most people don't even know what a frog stay is, but this part that's back here up between the bulbs, we call that a frog stay. But in truth, this is just all one little unit here. And in my opinion, all right, this frog corium, which is skin that grows that frog, okay, this is the sulcus of the frog. The whole thing is the sulcus of the frog corium. And then when it grows frog in there, okay, that frog stays in there. And I think the whole, personally, I think the whole thing is the frog stay. You can call it, well, that part's the sulcus and that part, but really it's all one unit. The difference between them is this area here is horizontal and this area here is vertical. up behind the bulbs. This is under the foot, and this is up behind the foot right here. And so it is this part right here that gets totally pulled down under the foot and not supposed to be there. So that's what we're going to be doing in these case studies, is fixing this, figuring out how to fix this. Because well, here, let's look a little more at some of this stuff. Okay, so see, this is the vertical part, all right? And this is the horizontal part. This part should be under the foot, and this part should be up behind the foot, but yet it's all, look, it's just all one little unit, right? But what happens is this whole piece that's up behind, supposed to be off the ground, all this gets pulled down, and this gets flattened out and pulled totally under the foot. And so you're going to learn to recognize that. In fact, it's easy to recognize once you realize that you got a part that's high up between the bulbs here in the back. So, you know, your heels be down like this. And this is way high up. And then you got frog growing down like this. But then this part is under the foot. Does that make sense? Anybody there? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So remembering that this part is vertical up behind the foot, and this part is horizontal underneath the foot. It's got a little bend here, see, like that. And so this part here, the vertical part, is pulled down to be completely horizontal under the foot. All right, and then the frog grows from it, and this periople that grows right here, that's only supposed to cover the back of the foot like this, well, this gets pulled under the foot, so it's growing over the whole thing there, pushing that way. And like Sharon Reynolds on her horse thinks it's grown clear up past the frog apex. She thinks she's got periople clear up here on her horse, and that wouldn't surprise me. You know, just like bars, how bars can grow up and lay over the sole and then just smoosh and cover it over. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so when you have a correct foot, the heel, you see the heel here, the heel sticks up like this, and it's like you say, level with the frog corium. Okay. Okay, see now here's your periople skin. It's only supposed to be on the outside here, up above. But when the heels are trimmed out, all this is pulled down underneath. And so all this is growing in and under the foot like that, uncontrolled. See, now here you can see it a little better. You can see you have frog here. See the frog? Okay, but see this little layer here on the back of it? That's periople. And you see how this periople just kind of ties all of this together? Because what do you got here? You got frog, and then you got your heel buttress over here. I mean, you got your collateral groove there. And so this periople that binds the hoof to the leg, okay, it basically crowns the whole top of the foot all the way around, like so. And when things go wrong, it gets really thick to try and hold on to the capsule. When you get laminitis, horse with laminitis, where the capsule wants to come off, this stuff gets crazy thick. And it can dry clear, and it can also be harder than hoof wall, you know, when it attaches to these heels and stuff. Okay, so see, it's covering all this up back here, but it's also crowning around the foot here and holding the capsule to the hide on the leg. And then also as the hoof wall grows, it emits a sheet of very thin periople that is very hard, that would be like a lacquer almost, except that it grows in tubules. And it grows in tubules. And it puts this layer of periople, thin layer of periople over the whole hoof capsule. And what it does is that helps the capsule retain moisture. And here, okay, can you see the layer? See, that's periople, but on the very other side of it is frog. This is frog right here. That's the frog that grows in there. And remember what I say, part of it is horizontal, it should be under the foot, but the other part is vertical, up behind and between the bulbs. Yet it grows from just one unit here. See, that's why to me, this is the sulcus of the frog corium, and then this whole thing grows from that sulcus. And when everything is in its place and that big chunk of frog grows in between there, it holds everything there. So technically the whole thing is a frog stay. See, stay, it makes everything stay there. And it's interesting, this here, which is the bottom of your collateral groove, is covered also with soft frog-like material. So it's soft. Okay, so this mare had a really good foot. I mean, there were some issues that he didn't really know how to trim the pillars too much, but she had a pretty good foot. I don't know what that is. Oh, I think it's a piece of hide or something. Okay. See, everything's measured. What is that? From the hairline to the end of the physical heel is about 1 1/4 inch or 3 centimeters. Okay, so then to get half an inch of sole, an inch of sole growing from here, that's why you want to have about a 2-inch heel. Do you understand? That's where that comes from. And this is a consistent measurement on these horses. Maybe on giant, warm bloods, it might be a little more, but for your average saddle horse, this is a consistent measurement. You look at horseshoes. Okay. So her heel was, I don't know, 2 inches, something, or maybe not enough. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, okay, so here's something, I want to show you something here that happens. Now, you see here that this horse had a physical heel where the bar grows from here and the sole grows from here. This is what it looks like inside. And so you see that you've got lamina here and you've got depth. I want you to remember that. You have depth and connection in here. That heel here, see, it's got depth and connection. It fits in this, whatever that is, okay? This section here, all right? So I want you to remember, it's got depth. Now, when you trim the heels out, it reduces the depth of this and it crushes your heels forward so that there is not this thick, they don't have the depth that they got right here. And you wouldn't have the depth that you have here, the deepness, because the heels aren't standing up. And this gets trimmed out. The heel buttress right here gets trimmed out, and this gets less. And the heels literally get shoved up physically into the foot, which will show you that here. See, this has to do with what I want to talk about today too, what I found in my trim and what you're all going to find. All right. So just a second here. Where am I at? Hold on, I got lost. Okay. Okay, let's look at a different foot from the one we just looked at. Second here. Hold on, I'm looking for it. Okay. This, now the foot I just showed you, that foot was anatomically correct.
I don't see no picture there, Linda.
Just a minute.
Just
Do you
kind of a
now?
gray screen. Nope. Oh, now we do. Yep.
Okay. This is a different foot here. That other foot escaped being wrongly trimmed by barefoot trimmers and was trimmed by a farrier. And lucky for her, she had frog. So they never really took the heels way down. You know, she had some distortion in the pillars, but nothing that harmed her inner foot. She wound up breaking her leg, and that's how I got her feet. And now, but this horse, this is a whole different story here. This horse here belonged to a gal that was trained in Germany with Hildred Strasser, and then came back here and trained with a few other people. And she has been doing barefoot trimming for a long time. And this was a horse that belonged to this person. And she had him, I guess, 16 or more years, or maybe since she was 16. I can't remember, but he was pretty old when she finally had to put him down, and he could barely walk because his tendons were shredded. His tendons were shredded because, okay, you remember the last foot I showed you, right? Remember the heels? How the heels reached up to here? And how I told you when you trim the heel buttress out, the physical heel gets shoved up into the foot. Okay. Remember, this is supposed to be more vertical, but this is the bulbs, everything are actually pulled clear down here to the ground. And so some of this is going to be happening and going on with your horses, that as you are trimming these feet and growing in the heel, and the heels are expanding and moving back, and you're releasing this frog and the back of the foot so it starts coming up, well, your heels are going to be shoved under like this, and so you're going to have hollowness in the heel platform of the sole right there. But as the true frog comes in and pushes all this up, it's going to push your heels back down, and then they'll start growing correct sole. See, and thickness of sole. I'll show you how this worked on my horse, because when I had a false foot, I thought I had a really good foot because I had really good sole in what I thought was the heel platform. But in truth, my foot was still bound under like that, and it was not real. So let's look at this here. Okay, see that, how far down that is? That's supposed to be clear up here. This here is supposed to be clear up here. This is all supposed to be pulled down into here. And this here, all of this much higher up here. Where can you understand that these feet, the front is hooked to a joint. The front is stiffer because underneath there it's got that coffin bone, but the back third two-thirds of that foot is soft cartilage and fat. And so if I really shorten the toe, I can bend the toe back this way. And as I shorten the heels, I can pull them down and bend them in that way. And so really what you got going on here is the foot has been bent in the center. And that is what has made this heel come up this way and shove up into the foot. So, you know, he had the back of his foot, the caudal part of his foot taken away and shoved forward, down and under. It wouldn't be any surprise that he would have tendon problems. Say, no. Not only were the heels shoved up, this here shows how crooked his foot was. See, you want to talk about medial lateral imbalance? Here you go. But this is the whole foot is screwed up, you know. Now, that other horse, she didn't have any medial lateral imbalance. Let me find this one picture where I got them both together so I can show you. See, this is going to become real important because as you're correcting this, you're going to find that your heels become hollow. But as you keep correcting it, as the frog starts pushing the back of the foot up, it's going to push your heels back down so that you can get sole. Because really, another thing that happens is that capsule gets smaller and really your real heel in here is covered up. It's not even growing the real heel from the real spot. Okay, let me find this here. Okay, let's see, search. I guess I forgot how to use oh, there we go. Pictures. That's what I'm looking for. Inner foot. Go down to inner foot. I gotta find inner foot. Okay, where are you? Okay. New share. Okay, here I put, oops, wrong. Wait a minute. Just a second, screen share. Okay. Okay, quit that. Okay, here you have those 2 feet. The one that's anatomically correct, look at the heel. And the one that was barefoot trimmed for years, where the horse was finally put down due to shredded tendons. Can you kind of understand how this might affect the tendons on a horse? You know, going up here, see if his heels are supposed to be like this, but instead they're like that. See, and like I said, like you
So
can,
that whole back is stopping from the heels. You can't straighten the heels out unless you correct that periople and frog stay.
yeah, because see, you got to get real frog growing here. You got to release the whole thing so it will push up the back of the foot back where it belongs. Till then, you know, like today when I trimmed, I'm really seeing where it's starting to push the heels back into place. I'll show you some of those pictures here in a little while. So to where they're more like this so that it can fill in with sole. See, now I showed you a picture where this foot was real crooked. See, at the time when I was taking this first picture, I wasn't looking at that. I had it level here like that, but look at how the leg is there. If we were to straighten that leg out, then you see how crooked that foot is too. So see, it's not just that the whole back of the foot is being forced down like that and his poor heels are being shoved up. Here's another thing. See, you would think if you kept trimming those heels down, you're going to run into sole corium and it's going to bleed, right? No, because as you trim them down, the actual heel here is being shoved up. So you can actually have rather thick sole or false sole or whatever in here and not run into blood because the physical heel's being pushed up. Isn't that interesting? So, let's see here. Okay, here I took it. See, now I've straightened this out. It's straight. His leg is straight, his pastern, like this one is straight. And so see, it was just really bad for this poor guy. Look, you can even see how different this bulb is from this one. And so think of how long that horse was in pain. You know, even before he started showing signs of severe lameness, these horses have inflammation and pain all the time, all the time. But you know, they're the silent sufferers, and they adapt. They adapt their gait and their body and this and that, and you know, that's been good for chiropractors and body workers though. See, which as these horses start getting corrected, then that's really going to put chiropractors and body workers in a good space as far as really helping these horses recover. So, okay, let's see what else I got here. Okay, so there it is without the thing. And look, doesn't that even look sore and painful?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it was like he was just all swollen. Now, he was a bigger horse than this. This was a mare, and she was more fine bone. This was a gelding. He was big bone, big Arab, and his foot had been compressed to being smaller than hers. The capsule was even smaller-ish. And look, it deformed the foot. The foot was wider over here than over here. So it definitely remodeled the coffin bone. See, this is total deformation here. This is how the true foot of the horse should look right here. And these are not my dissection. This is an equine podiatry dissection picture. Look at how they're deformed. See how the coronary bands pulled down this way and the heels are shoved forward this way. Now, here's the thing. So when people don't know this is going on, but they're doing research and study and they remove a hoof capsule and they see these inner foot, they think that's the way the inner foot should be. See? And so they make interpretations off of what is a deformed foot. Now, I'll show you how this works here. Just a second here. Might take me a second to find this. I need to put this where I can find it, this one deal. Okay, here it is. I found it. Frog research. Remember that. I got this under frog research. New share. Okay, so this is my dissection. from maybe 8 years ago or something like that. And it was one of the first real dissections I did. And it was off a horse that I trimmed for maybe 8 months. And of course I was doing your typical barefoot trim. Now I don't think at that time I was measuring the heels, but I was still taking the heels way back to the base of the frog every time. And I didn't realize. Now these pictures I took, but understood years later. Okay. So this foot here, this is when I first took the capsule off. And so you see, you would look at that and think, well, that's what the inner foot is supposed to look like, right? Second. Okay, but I didn't know. I wanted to preserve the foot, so I was trying some different things. And so I bedded it in salt and borax. And I left it there overnight. Well, the next day I thought, I'm going to get that foot and take some more pictures. And so the next day I had it and I was taking pictures of it. And I had the frog that was on the capsule that grew on this frog corium right here. All right. And so I set that foot on that frog. And I was confused, like, why doesn't the frog fit the foot anymore? See, you can see obvious. It does not fit, right? Okay, but when I first took it off, it fit. See there? Now this is a simulation. I had to cut that out and put it over here, but you see how it fit the deformed foot? Because see, what happened was, because this is what we're doing by trimming these frogs and removing this periople. As you trim the heels out, it pulls the whole back of the foot down like this. Well, your frog corium is right there too, right? So it shoves all that forward. And so, you know, this foot, I took it out of the capsule. Well, then when I set it in that salt and borax, it moved back up to where it would be naturally. You see right here is where your heel buttress grows, big chunk of hoof wall on the back of this heel. Okay. Structurally, let me do a little annotation here. Just a minute here. Well, draw. Okay, draw. There we go. Okay. Structurally, we'll just use pink. What the heck? Your heel buttress grows. No, that's not good. Just a minute. Draw. Format. We'll do this and we'll just do red. Okay. Your heel buttress grows right here. And it is a big chunk of heel like that. It has to attach. Remember, I told you the back of this heel has to have depth, right? You see how when this was all pulled down over here, how it shoved that heel forward like that. So the horn tubules, the horn tubules, I wonder if I need a different color that can show up better. Well, let's try lime green. Okay, here's the back of the heel. You see how it got pushed forward like that when this was pulled down. So this is where the heel buttress is growing now. That's the horn tubules. Okay, the horn tubules up here are like this. Now all of a sudden these were supposed to be growing at the same angle, but now they're growing like this. So they're going to change the angle of all these tubules to grow like so. See? Now look over here. When the foot when the cartilage and the fat pushed itself back up and straightened up. Look at the depth of the heel that I had there. Now, look at the horn tubules. They're all at the same angle. See? Here's that would be the heel buttress right there. Like this, what's that heel buttress going to do? Those horn tubules are going to naturally push everything forward here, just like it's going to change the angle they grow from here. So what we're doing is we're releasing all this to come back up, all this cartilage to come back up, and then we are realigning all these horn tubules here. See that? Because you see your lamina on the foot. They are at a certain angle, like so. Well, your horn tubules on the outside, they show you what angle they're supposed to be at in unison, because see, the inner wall grows down from here, connects with the sole right there, and then they grow down together right there. So this is proper hoof structure. Anything different than this, like, let's do a different color here. Okay, there you see how your horn tubules are supposed to go. They're not supposed to be like this. You're not supposed to have a horn tubule here that's growing clear up to there. And that's what happens. Okay, this horn tubule here was supposed to be back like that. Okay, but when you trim these heels out and pull all the back of this foot down like that, these horn tubules that should be like that, well, they get shorter and they get at a different angle growing that way. Well, they're going to push into the ones in front of them. And so they'll make all these horn tubules move forward, kind of like dominoes. And what'll happen is they'll move until they run into something that won't move. Like on me, they moved forward till they hit right about here, and then they wouldn't move forward anymore. The dorsal wall was too strong. Instead, what I got was a crack right there. Why do you get these cracks? Because all these horn is being pushed forward till it gets to some place that ain't going to be pushed around, and then it cracks right there. And so until you restore this foot, you're going to keep getting that crack right in that space. They call it like a quarter crack, but usually it's in the quarter. But I got mine up here in the side of the toe right there, a crack. Okay, but it's closing up now. All right, so let's go back. So this is really important to understand that we're trimming to restore the anatomy of the internal foot so that it will grow a correct hoof capsule from a correct location. And because 2/3 of this foot is cartilage and fat, the whole back of the foot can be distorted and deformed and grow an incorrect hoof capsule. You know, how important is it that the back of this foot be correct to be able to support the horse correctly? How important is that for tendons, ligaments, joints, all of it? Extremely. And how important is it just for the rest of the foot? You know, if you have horn tubules, let's see here. If you have horn tubules that are supposed to be here, but they're up here, okay, let's take laminitis. What is laminitis? Laminitis is where the wall here separates from the lamina. Okay, well, if you've trimmed out the whole back of the foot and all these horn tubules are pushing forward like this, and pushing on the forward wall here and pushing this toe wall out that's supposed to be like this, what's that doing? It's separating in between here and here. Laminitis. See, mechanical laminitis. All the and especially so many farriers don't have a clue about where that toe is supposed to be at. And or if they do, they have this flare here, and so they're constantly rasping off the hardest part of that wall to expose the softer inner wall. And all that does, you got, you know, a 1,200 pound horse attached to this foot, pressing down on a thin little shell. That's his foot protection. And so he has structural failure. And that's what I don't care what anybody says. Okay. I think the largest percent of laminitis is from all this structural failure. And because they don't know that the way they're trimming is producing structural failure between the inner foot and that capsule, then they blame it on what the horse eats. And of course, the horse has been in pain for years because of the way they've been trimming him. Pain causes stress. Pain, what does pain do to hormones? See, cause your hormones go whack. And what does that do? Doesn't that affect your insulin? You see, so, you know, all this metabolic this and metabolic that. Well, there's no reason in the world why it couldn't be starting in the feet. See, with the pain and the stress and everything that they cause these horses because of the way they're trimmed, because of the knowledge and the structural failure. Okay, so so you see what we're doing. If we understand how this foot is supposed to be put together, then we know what we can do to correct this capsule, or we can start thinking of things we can do to help this foot get back into place, to grow a correct capsule from the right position. And so we've been doing a lot of that, but what we didn't know was that as the back of this foot gets pulled down, this periople starts growing and binding the foot. Now, another thing that happened on this horse, you see, this horse, I know now, he had a superior foot. Okay. He got, whatchamacallit, he had a twisted gut or something. I don't know, but they had to shoot him. And so I got his feet, and he was the sweetest horse too. And the thing about it was, I know now that this horse, because I remember this frog, and I had this frog in a jar for a long, I still have the frog, but it's all dried out. It was huge. He had a huge frog, and I never trimmed it all off. But as I was trimming the heels out, here's something that was happening. Just a minute here. Undo. Let me undo all this. Oh, well, let's just clear it. There we go. And stop this here. Okay. As I was trimming his heels out, it was pulling this frog down. Well, look at this frog, how thick it was. It was also bending the frog up into this part of his foot. Okay. And when I did the dissection and I took the capsule apart, I found that the bar had been dislocated from where it was attached to in here, and the bar was shoved clear up here like that. That's what I found in the horse's foot. I didn't understand that, none of this till later though. Okay, so let's see, what time is it? I started at around 1. I need a drink of water. Hold on. So any questions about that?
No, I think I got it now, Linda.
Okay. I just have to sit here and think of where I want to go.
So Linda,
Yeah.
I have just a question. Where would you start your majority of your trim? Now, you can't just chop the toe off to bring something back, and you
No.
can't just open up the heel to let something pop out. Um, so how would you go about starting? Like, would you just take so much off the frog and open so much, bring the toe back like we have been, but maybe a little bit lesser at a time? Or how would you go about it?
Well, I would just do, first of all, a basic trim with the mapping,
Okay.
just really cleaning everything up. And then I would start and gradually getting things, it kind of depends on how distorted is that foot, how much extra sole and bar and frog and does it have, so
Yeah.
you have to do it. And as you do a trim, the foot changes, you come back, you do another trim. Now you can't, if like say a horse's foot is way out there, you have to do that in increments, bringing that toe back, because one thing that happens is people bring the toe back, but then they have these horn tubules that are in here that are clear up here at the pillar, at the toe quarter. And so the toe can't come back because of this. And so this is all stuff you're going to have to work with gradually. That's what the beveling does. This is what the mapping does, helps you start getting things in boundaries. See?
Like, and even with those horn tubulars, when they're not, when it seems like everything has stopped moving, like, and in the position I'm in right now, I can't shorten her toe anymore just
Yeah.
because it's it ain't going no place.
Yeah.
There's no place for it to go. So
Yeah.
now I have to work on the back of that frog and periople, which I have, but not to the extent that it's moving.
Yeah. Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a look at your foot. Okay, I'm gonna show
Okay.
you what I've been doing, what I started doing, and have had other people doing, and which is really taking these frogs down to fresh frog, to where they are pliable with the finger. Like I can press on it and it's like medium firm rubber.
Okay.
You don't want anything that is dead or hard or petrified. See, not between the bulbs, and you have to start forming a central sulcus in the frog as well. See, like my back feet, well, I did trim the frog more in the front. The back feet, the frogs didn't get trimmed for so long that there was no central sulcus looking thing at all.
Yeah,
So
that's how my backs are too.
yeah, so I started putting one in simply because I knew that there was one in the foot. See, now I understand, of course, that in a different light, but irregardless, they still call that cleft in the frog itself the central sulcus, right? So I just started making one, and eventually I got them in my frogs. But it wasn't until I started really taking frog down and realizing that periople was growing over the whole things that the frogs started really blooming and growing frog. And here's another thing. You see this, how it gets pressed forward. Okay.
Yep.
All of this, it also pushes the sole corium forward. And so all of this will come back and pull back up like this. See? So
Linda,
yeah.
Can you do this, like removing all of this extra periople and frog at any stage of foot
Well,
distortion?
I guess we're going to find out. You know, see, I don't know.
Yeah,
Because,
that's a good question.
yeah, it's a very good question. And it's something that we want to evaluate, think about, and work on finding the answers to.
Okay,
You
I
know,
remember before when you were talking about, like, I know that so many people had concerns about removing the periople in the back because it was like, they didn't want to release the foot too quickly because they might
yeah.
cause rotation. So is there any risk at that
Well,
happening or?
I do think so. I would rather err on the side of caution, you know,
So
because,
how, that's my question. I guess that's where I'm a little confused. I'm a little hesitant to take too much off in the back there because I don't know if my horse's foot is at the stage where it could handle something like that. How would I know that?
well, um, um, you would know by where the heels are and how bound the cartilages are, you know, um,
But I'm thinking I still have false heels at some point because there's still some
oh,
heels
well,
that run forward.
me too, you
Okay.
know, um, gradually those heels are uncurling on my horse, you
Okay.
know. So that's something I'm concerned about too. Like
Okay.
some of these horses, holy cow, like I wonder if I would have done that when my horse had absolutely no foot at all,
Yeah. What would
you
happen?
know, and stuff. So yeah, this is all stuff that's why I said, that's why I want to do this group. And that's why I didn't want people sharing stuff because, well, if you're stupid like me, I was so desperate to fix my horses that, you know, anything new thing that came on, okay, there's the answer. I'll go try that,
Right.
you know, and it wasn't the answer.
Okay.
So, uh, you know, so that's what I want to prevent too, is people doing too much too soon without an evaluation to see what's going on. Because who is it? I can't remember who, but somebody here on the mentor group posted, because it's so wet there. Okay, well, their bulbs released on their own.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Right. Yeah. I saw
and
that.
it wasn't pretty, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff. So, you know, so that's something we have to think about. So you have to realize that even though I'm doing my horse and a couple other horses and working on this stuff, that I just don't have all the answers here. And I
Okay.
think that we need to err on the side of caution and find out, you
Okay.
know, how do we best approach this, you
Uh,
know? And so, um,
Another
anyway, you
question I
understand what I'm
had.
saying there?
Yeah, for sure. That's
You know,
exactly what my concern
this
was
is
because
all new.
I remember you mentioning about,
You know, I
and I
don't
mean,
have
Lisa
every
showed me.
answer. I know now what the true foot should be.
Right.
Every single answer for how to get it there safely, I don't have all those answers yet.
Right.
So anyway,
I have
I
a little request while I
okay.
got you here.
But
Could you?
what we can do is we're going to look at all these horses
Okay.
and then determine what might be the safest approach. Like the more the heels are trimmed out, the more bound the foot is. What is it that we can do to correct that without just releasing the foot and, like, you know, the foot just goes blah and there's
Right.
nothing for it to there be in. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yep, that makes sense. Could
So
I
anyway,
ask you in the future at
okay.
some time? I know you're really busy,
So
but
I'm gonna share with you what my trims kind of look like, because I do a full mapping and a basic trim, and then I do detail work. And then a couple days later, I might do a little bit more detail. Now, I am not riding my horse. Okay, so you have to realize that. And if I was, I would put boots on him. And you're going to see why today, because he had his heels moved because the frog is so plump and pushing the whole back of the foot up, his heels moved. And so for the first time, it's uncovering some of this that's been bound up for years. Okay. I can see that there's a lot more circulation in the foot. There's a lot more blood getting to the foot. I've grown a whole new hoof capsule in less than 7 months. That's
Wow.
unheard of. They say, oh, it takes a full year. Nope. No, I don't. And I know that for a fact, because the more simulated wear and the more correct the foot gets, the better it grows. See, the faster it grows, the better it grows. So, okay. So anyway, hold on. I need to kind of sit here and drink a little coffee.
I was going to say too, Linda.
Okay, so I'm going to go
we're-
to today's
Can't hear
trim.
me
I'm going to
again.
show you the last trim I did. I'm going to show you. Okay. Oops, where'd you go? Okay, so you put this up here, new share. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, there we go. Okay, so this is today. I washed up the feet. It's been like 6 days, something like that. Let me find the other one, just a second here. New share. Okay, so this is my last trim right here. Just a second. And what I want you to see is, now I can take my finger and I can press on all this frog and it gives. There's no dead hard frog here at all. And when I use, whether it's a Dremel or my Proxon or whatever, I like to get right in between here, and I like to form a semi-central sulcus here. Okay, see how I've kind of got a central sulcus going there? So this is all live frog. Now, when I trimmed him, I noticed here, I got to show you another picture first so you can see the difference. From 2019, when I thought I had a good foot, I mean, I knew there was something wrong with it because the cartilage was still rounded. When you'd look at a side view, the cartilage was still rounded. Just a minute. Okay, but the one thing I liked, because the one thing I've been working towards was getting good sole here in the heel platform. Okay, do you see what I'm talking about? Can I get a participation? Yes.
Yes, I see.
You see that sole?
Yep.
Yep.
Anybody there?
Yeah, we see it.
Yep.
Can you hear us, Linda?
Hello?
I think
Can you?
she can't hear us.
You must be on mute or something.
No, we're not.
Is that Marcia? How come I'm not hearing you guys? What the heck? Just a minute. Oh, my computer went on mute for some reason. Okay, say something now.
Can you
Hello,
hear us
we can-
now?
There we go.
All right,
Okay.
I wondered what happened.
Yeah,
We're
my
here, we're
computer
here.
just decided to go on mute on its own.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
we can
so-
see that. Yeah.
Okay, so I thought I had a good foot, but again, it was, the cartilages were rounded. Let me show you that just a second here. Okay, look, this is before I beveled. You see that? Not supposed to look like that, you know? And so, yeah, Carly Jane's supposed to look like that at all. But yet I had this nice sole in the heel platform and what I thought was nice bars and nice heels. But what was really going on was the foot was bound. Now see, don't look too bad there. That's before the trim. They look, you know, if from that angle, they don't look bad. But there at that angle, I just knew something wasn't right. They're not supposed to look like that. Okay, so yeah, see, when I look at that, I see that full sole in the heel and I'm real happy with that. Okay, but what I didn't know was these bulbs were pulled clear into here and this periople had grown up over to tie it up into a neat little package. And this is a false frog and my heels are bound and my heels are actually curling in like that. And it's all not the true foot. You know, he was sound on it, but it's not the true foot. So then when you go to change this, you're gonna, these heels have got to uncurl like this. And so the real heel, the real physical heel is not growing anything. It's back up under here and it's bound. And so this is sole coming from further up than on your real physical heel. Let me find it here. New share. Okay, so we want to look at the physical heel again. Again, that's a deformed foot there from barefoot trimming. Just a second here. Okay, here, this was a good foot. So you see the heel here on this foot? Okay, on my horse there, what we're really looking at is sole that's growing from about here. The real heel is covered up. So then when I started trimming the frog and releasing the whole back of the foot and the heels started uncurling and moving back, well, it starts uncovering that part of the foot that isn't growing nothing. And so then my heels go hollow again or concave. If you got concave,
Linda?
yeah, what?
I have a question. Is that why I can never find the white line at the back of the foot?
Yep. Yeah, because
Okay.
your white line would be right here, see?
Yeah,
And instead, your heels are about here.
and it would disappear.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Okay, bingo. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
it.
And so, let me go back to my current last trim here. Okay, so you see over here how it's lightly pink right there? Okay, not only lightly pink, but remember in the other foot, I had full sole, but it was more up here. Let me go back. See how I don't have full sole in the heel area anymore?
We can't see your cursor.
Oh, darn, thank you. Duh. Okay, there you go. See the difference, how it's hollow?
Yeah.
Right here, and I don't have full sole like I did in the other one.
Right.
Just a minute. We'll just go back there. See what I mean? Full sole, so nice. Okay. And then we go back to the expanding foot. It's hollow in here. And I could really trim down these bars and trim this area, and I would never run into pink like that. See there, that pink?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, is this a right foot? No, this is a left foot. Wait a minute. Let me find the right foot. Hold on. Is it? Yeah, that's a left foot. So we're looking at a different foot. So wait a second. It still applies, but I wanted to look at the foot I did today. So hold on. But anyway, let me explain this quick first anyway. So as this all moves back and fills in, and the true frog is pushing up the back of the foot, and these heels that were turned in like this are coming back out this way. Okay, and the bars are moving, it's uncovering the sole corium here in the very back of the foot.
But
And
Linda,
so,
in order for you to get them to uncurl like that, did you have to make a disconnection between the bar and the back of the wall?
oh, that's really interesting that you said that, because I was thinking today that those bars were holding my heels forward. So I experimented with that today, and I will show you, because I've had a foot before that was a lot smaller, where there was actually a crack right here that went all the way down between the heel and the bar. And that's because, of course, the whole foot was bound and not right and stuff like that. So then after the foot got more growth and correction and stuff, then I had solid wall between the bar, but I also know that my bars are shoved in a bad position. And so I'm thinking, are my bars holding my heels forward?
Right.
You know? And so that is what I thought of today. I thought, well, maybe I'll just go in there and I will just make a little cut right down there. And either one of two things going to happen. Either it's going to release my heels and they're going to pop back, or they're going to collapse forward again. So I'm the guinea pig. Well, Valor's the guinea pig. Okay. Valor's the guinea pig. But it didn't hurt him. But I found some interesting things when I went in there today, because see, I mapped this foot, and so my bars were just right. And even in several days, things have moved to where I had to retrim the bars. And something really interesting happened when I retrimmed the bars that has never, ever happened to me before, which I will show you. So, but anyway, so this is pretty much how I leave the foot. Pretty cleaned up, mapped heels down to where they should be, all that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Let me find. This. Okay. Okay, so this is like 6 days. I wanted to come in because I wanted to do this because I was of that very thing you were thinking about. I was thinking about how it seems like these bars are holding my heels forward, because the bars are distorted. And so I came in and I mapped the whole foot. And what I found interesting was, see, I just mapped and trimmed the foot 6-7 days before. And so when I made the bar line, I noticed that it's bringing my bars back further. And to me, that means the foot is changing. If I come in anytime later and I map and something's moved or grown or whatever, and see, I didn't think the bar could grow that much, so I'm thinking the foot moved is what I was thinking. And so anyway, so there's my mapping for today. Now,
Linda, we can't see any mapping.
oh crud, yeah, thanks for saying something. There we go. Ta-da. Okay, so This is the foot in question that I wanted to work on because I felt this bar is holding that heel there and it needs to come back. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like. I took pictures of all his feet today. Come on. Okay, so yeah, that's the right foot. Okay, so this is how much it's grown since the last trim. See, quite a bit in 7 days. Is that the right foot? Yeah, right foot. Or no, do I want the left foot? Yeah, maybe I wanted the left foot. Irregardless, I trimmed it and look how much frog's grown. See, frogs grow like crazy. Let me go up here. Huh, did I not take pictures of that foot? Now I'm all confused. Make sure I'm working on the right foot. The left, okay, yeah. The left foot is the foot I've been working on the longest, okay, with this deal. Okay, so it is the foot that is filling in the most back here, where the frog has corrected itself the most. Now, here in the last month, this pocket has shown up right here. And so I was wondering what the heck with that, you know, because this is also the side of the foot that was most flared, things like that. And today, even though I had trimmed these bars way over, I noticed that things had moved and that it was time to even move that bar over. And so I was wondering what's going on there. It seems like an abscess, but what is an abscess? An abscess is where the sole becomes disconnected. That is really what it is. And so I know that I've got some disconnected sole or something going on over here. So, and that the sole is very thin here because again, this was full of sole in that other picture I showed you. But since then, I have totally released the frog and it's, you know, started to come out here. But anyway, I'll show you some pictures of that. But what I want to show you today is what I found here. Now, this is where the frog goes to, and this is Periople. Right here. I marked that on purpose so that I could show you how the frog has moved way back this way, and it is a totally different look than that other foot. But again, you can see the hollowness of the sole in the heel here. Let's look at this foot again. See the difference? See how these bulbs are going up in here? The frog looks different, the sole, everything. Let's see, new share, go back to that other foot. Okay, so again, this is like six or 7 days after I just trimmed him. And so I came in today and worked on this foot. And I'm going to remind you of what it looked like when I left it. Just a minute here, which was like that. Okay. Okay. New share, we're going to go back to it. Okay. And so I wanted to do a full mapping. Now, what I found interesting was that this distance from here to here had gotten wider. And so I'm going to start adding this other line into the mapping. And we're going to start keeping track of where our frog is right here in regards to our periople, because ultimately this whole frog will move back. Your apex will change positions a number of times, usually on its own if you keep it trimmed down. So we want to mark where the frog is because this frog is still going to move back further behind the heels, and this periople skin is going to come up further behind the bulbs because this whole frog, remember I told you, part of the frog is vertical, but then you got that other part that grows up high between the bulbs that's this part is horizontal. This part up behind the bulbs is vertical.
So Linda,
Yeah.
where you just were with your cursor behind the, like that frog line, that's yeah, right there. That's the periople that we're removing.
Yes.
Okay.
And between the bulbs and actually you'll find that it's grown clear up into the central sulcus.
Okay.
All up into here. I'll show you some pictures of that here in a minute. See, now I've been working on this foot for a long time, and so pretty much I have pretty good frog here now. It's not all just periople, but this periople that grows around the back of here, right in here.
How close to the hairline did you get by removing the periople? How close did you get to that point right there?
Right there.
Okay.
I'll show you some pictures.
All right.
Okay.
So do we take off all the folded stuff that's in between the bulbs in the back?
Yes. I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll show you. Okay, so anyway, today I found this pocket. See there? And when I trimmed this bar, this has never, ever, 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 ever happened to me before. Blood, I ran into blood right there. And you know why? Because the back of the foot is expanding and those heels that have been shoved down are now being pushed up towards the surface. And so never before, I mean, I've taken bars way down even more than that. Never, ever, ever run into anything like that. Because when the heels are so pushed forward and that sole is so congested, you're not really trimming the real bar and heel anyway. And so what's happening is the heel that's under here is being pushed forward and up to the surface. And that's why it was that close. Remember I showed you that those heels get pushed down, and that's why you can trim all that and you never run into blood because they've been pushed down. Where is this? But one thing about it, you know to stop when you get right there. But what's interesting was it was right along the bar line. I have never seen that before. And of course, now he had this funky hole over here.
So Linda, that blood, that isn't the sole corium there?
It's getting close.
Okay.
You know, I think it's maybe the lamina. See, this heel is, as the frog pushes up and grows, okay, it starts pushing those heels down, the internal heel down. I've never, ever seen anything like that before. I mean, I've gotten too close here and there and hit blood, you know, or seen a drop of blood here and there, but I have never, all I did was just barely go down that bar on that lamina right there, and it did that. I have never had that happen before.
And on the other side, it didn't occur.
No, but it's real, the sole is real thin here. And the sole is getting thinner over here too. And that's because these heels are moving. It's uncovering that part of the heel that has been buried for years. Here, let's go back and look at that again. Just a second here. Okay, hold on. Try and find that other foot. Wait a minute. Let me find it. Where is that? Okay. Okay, here's that foot again. So when you trim the heels out of these horses, see how it pushes the heels up down here? Okay.
Wrong picture.
Oh, thank you. New share. I need all the help I can get here. Oh, just a second. I got to say hi to my husband that just came home.
You have no idea what you have, what you have. Boy, I'm telling you, I did not. I was awake until at least 4 o'clock.
Okay, I'm back.
You were sleeping. Okay.
Okay, so
You didn't sleep good, but you did. Oh, Renee was in the hospital. He's in the hospital.
here we go. Okay, so now just
It's
a
a
second
COVID
here.
reaction. They took blood tests and everything. He woke up this morning, eyes swollen shut.
Okay. Now, do you see here the difference in these 2 feet? The heel. You see, this is the heel on a good foot. What do you see on this foot? No
Heel.
for an answer. Oh, am I muted again? No, I'm not muted again. Are people talking and I can't hear them?
Can you hear me, Linda?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, can you see the difference?
Yeah, one's got a heel and one's got no heel, or the heel is compressed and pushed forward.
Are pushed down up into the foot, like the foot is bent and it's pushed in.
Yeah.
You understand? Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm trimming, if there's sole up here and bar and I'm trimming, okay, if I get too close, I'm gonna run into blood, right?
Yep.
Okay. But if I have this foot and it's got a capsule on it, and let's say if I trim it down to here, I'm gonna run into blood. But if I trim this heel down to here, am I gonna run into blood?
No.
No. And so, like I said, I have never ever trimmed a bar like that and had it do that. And so I know, see, I've been waiting for that foot, this part of the foot to be pushed up to push my heels back down. Because what happens is, this is why people think there's a natural arch in the side of the foot, because you pulled the back down, it's pushed the center up, and so it makes what seems like an arch in the side of the foot. And so what I know is that this is pushing the foot back up and pushing the heels back down. And so that's what's going on in my heels, is that they're getting pushed back into place. And so they're real close to the thin sole that's growing there. Understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. So where is it? Okay. So, you know, he's not going to bleed to death from that, but it's really interesting. And I'm just going to tell you, if you're going to do this on occasion, you're going to have this situation. Okay. Now I went ahead and I trimmed some more of that out and found a big black pocket. See, now, if you look at this,
Did you mean,
go
did
ahead.
you mean to change pictures again?
Did I? Yeah.
Did you mean to change pictures?
Oh,
You
wait a minute.
didn't.
Oops. There we go. Okay. So anyway, definitely your horse ain't going to bleed to death on something like that, but you can see this sole is very thin here. The heels are moving and those heels are coming to the surface. And so what I'm expecting is that as more of this comes back and pushes more of the foot up, that eventually I'm going to be able to grow in the true sole once all that anatomy is back into place. See, and here's the thing too, if you have real compressed feet, you don't want to, well, okay. It squeezes the circumference of the sole, and so the sole gets really thick and heavy. Because irregardless, you've still got a certain amount of sole tubules there. And so when that hoof capsule contracts and squeezes them all together, you can get really thick, heavy sole. And so one thing you don't want your feet with a lot of excess sole in them, because, and in the heel area here, because otherwise your heels are going nowhere. Does that make sense? You've got all, it's not false sole, I mean, it's real sole, but the hoof is distorted, the heels are pressed forward. So if you allow this to get thick and heavy with sole and distorted bar, and you're still trying to do this, your capsule isn't going to move. Understand?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Linda, you're saying that the heel, the false heel, is somewhere under that red area.
Well, it's actually under right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but it's being pushed up. And
Forward.
so it's closer to the surface than it's ever been before.
When you're saying pushed up, you mean forward, right?
Well,
up the foot.
I mean that it's been pushed inward, like
Into the
down
foot.
into the foot.
Okay.
And now that this part of the foot is being pushed up, it's, see, that frog that grows between them bulbs, when it pushes them bulbs up and back, then it pushes the heels down because the foot was bent. And so here, let me see if I can figure out how to explain this.
So would that be why there's like, you get an extended bar ridge kind of up near the edge of the frog too?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because it's all, because, you know, this bar in here, just a minute here. Your bar is right here, right? Okay, so it's supposed to just grow a certain way, but then when it's pushed down, it's aimed up that way. And so all the tubules, the angle of the tubules change and point in that direction in a
Okay.
different way. So yeah, your bars grow weird and wonky, or you don't even have any bars. Have you ever seen a lot of these horses have barely any bar at all?
Yeah, I
You
have
know?
one like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because that whole back of the foot where the bar is grown from has been bent upwards. When I get a chance, I'll try and find that hoof capsule that come off that one horse, and you can see where the bar became disconnected and shoved up into the bottom of the foot.
Okay.
Yeah, that couldn't have been comfortable,
Yeah.
you know? Okay, let me see if, okay, so see, it pushes this up this way into the foot. Like if you bent say you could take your hand, put it on the toe and on the heel and just bend them, fold them together, then that would shove the heel upward, like it would fold the foot.
Okay.
See? Well, then your capsule grows and can look normal, because every time you trim it, you're kind of trimming it like it is normal and you don't realize it. It'd be like, okay, like if you had a ditch and you allowed the grass to grow the exact same level as the grass next to the ditch, you wouldn't see the ditch, would you?
No.
See, that's what's going on. Deceptive little boogers, you know. Okay, let me go back here. This is what happens. Okay, so here would be the normal, the foot should be flat. See? Okay, but when all this is pulled down this way, and usually they're shortening the toe too, so it pushes this down this way, and then it creates an arch here. Okay, so it's shoving the heel up in like that. So then as this starts to straighten out, this starts to go flat and the heel starts moving back and coming out. See? more like that instead of like this. And the thing about it is, okay, this is equine podiatry. Okay, now it's so common for the whole back of the foot to be bent down and under like that and bend the foot that they think this is the natural anatomy. And so they come up with this theory of how they think the foot works called the internal arch apparatus, which it's all falsehood. It's all a lie. I mean, they don't mean to lie. They just gave a incorrect interpretation of what they saw. Well, they gave a correct interpretation of what they saw, but it wasn't real because this is deformed foot. It's not the true foot and stuff. So do you guys see the difference between a coronary band that's bent down and clear under here and what that would do to the rest of the foot, pushing that up, you know, and a foot that is relaxed and flat, not bent, coronary band straight back here. You see the difference?
Yeah, total compression.
Yeah. And so it's like Bracy Clark said, the eye gets used to deformity and does not perceive it. And he said that it was pretty embarrassing in his first experiments, because he experimented on these feet 40 years, you know, that was pretty embarrassing in his first experiments that he was making judgments and determinations based on deformed feet. And he found out that his predecessors have been doing the same thing. See, so what you know what you call that? Back to the drawing board. Yeah, back to the drawing board. However many times you got to do it. If you got to start all over. I liken it to like, you get this bike for Christmas or something like that, and it's in a million pieces. And so you spend the whole day putting it together, and oh, you're just so excited and everything like that. You get it all together and you look behind you and there's some odd piece that you didn't see and you don't even know where it goes. And so you go back to the directions and you find out you left a very important piece out. Without it, that thing ain't going to run or switch gears or nothing. And so the only way to replace it is to go all the way back and take the whole thing apart and redo it. And that's what we need to do with science and with understanding anatomy and with understanding these feet. See, just like me, there's lots of things I had discovered or knew and tried, but this one thing I didn't know was holding everything up. See, just this dead frog and periople hidden up in here, being all sneaky like, binding my whole foot. So anyway, okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to this foot here that I did today. Oh, well, that was when I trimmed a few days ago, and that was that the right foot? Cripes, I can't even remember which foot's which. Hold on. I didn't new share it. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. Okay. That was before. Okay, this is like 7-8 days later, and during that time, this heel has dropped. The bars had moved because they didn't grow that much in that short of time. So I know they moved. Ultimately, what you're wanting is you don't want hardly any of this cleft here. This whole frog should pull out like that. These heels should uncurl back here. And the whole back of the foot, this frog should move clear back here and the whole thing fill up with frog. That's what ultimately would be the true foot of the horse. And then all this in the right place, the heels back down, full sole in the heels, so that when you do just a little trim there, you don't have that. That's telling me that the internal heel's really close there. So that's good, because it wasn't never that close before. See, because it's what? Shoved up into the foot. But because this frog that's growing between these bulbs is really pressing up, it's moving that foot. And I've got it so that in his stall, I keep that thing wet all the time so that he has to stand around in a moist environment because it's really dry here right now. And so any moisture that you can get to these feet is a good thing. Okay. So,
So Linda, what are you doing with that black hole in the,
well, I thought I took some more pictures of that. Okay, so here I retrimmed the frog so that this is how I trim all throughout that. Always opening that up there where that periople covers everything. The inside of the foot. Well, I dug it out as much as possible right there. I didn't get it all out. I went ahead and took that bar down some more, and I made kind of a cut there. Not cut like cut to blood, but between the bar and the heel. So we'll see if that's something that's going to work in helping those heels move back. Everything's blurry. My pictures were blurry. So it's hard to show you exactly, but I thought it was interesting that the heel, the internal heel now is so close to this area. That's telling me that it's being uncovered and that eventually I'll be able to grow real sole on the real heel back here. So let's see. You can't see it. I guess my camera decided not to take clear pictures, but I just put a little groove right here. And I put one over here too. So we'll see if that was a bad idea or a good idea here in a couple days. See, I got lots of mud, so he's going to fill his foot up with mud. And I put antiseptic, you know, I got gentle iodine and stuff like that. And that I put on that. But look, you can see how close the sole corium is to the surface of the foot now. Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. I never seen anything look like that ever. So something's going on, some good changes. You know, you want that internal foot to move. So that's a little better picture there. Yeah, I mean, that just looks odd. You know, that was, see, that's where the bar was. See that? And I just trimmed the bar normal, like just trim down the bar. And next thing I know, this little bit of blood's leaching out of there. I was like, what the heck? You know, maybe that is bar that was smashed down onto that heel. Do you think? Because that's exactly where the bar was. You see the outline of it?
Yeah.
Linda, could
Yeah.
that possibly be a bruised area from being compressed for so long, and then all of a sudden the blood is flowing better and the heel is actually popping up, and like, could it be a bruised area?
Yeah, it could be that too. You know, from like if something was pressing on it and covering it up, and
then all of a sudden you removed or you lightened the load
yeah,
that was keeping it compressed, and now all of a sudden it's like the blood's flowing.
yeah, because I mean, see, it really surprised me.
Well,
You
it
know,
even looks weird because it's the same thickness as the bar.
yeah,
It goes around the area of the bar.
yeah,
Like that, I mean, that's just, it's not like you cut into you know, like it's, I don't know, it just, it does. Like over on the other side. Now, if you had
Mhm.
cut down more on that side, okay, I could see blood coming up. But on that bar, I don't know.
Yeah, this was just weird because all I did was I took the knife, I mapped it, and it showed that it needed to come over.
Yep.
Okay. So I just took the knife and just went right along the bar. And that blood came up like that. I mean, I've removed whole bars that were broken off and different things like that, or on
Oh,
feet that
yeah.
were really flared out here. Okay, and the bars laying clear over. I've removed them clear to here, clear down into here, and no blood at all. Because you're just
Well,
taking it up against the this part of the wall of the bar and
well,
stuff.
if I'm not mistaken, me and you have both lost bars that like broke right off way
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
And there was no blood.
yeah. No, you know. So yeah, so this is like a totally different deal, totally weird and stuff.
Wow.
And now looking at it, because I remember when I did it, I was like, what? What? That looks totally different than anything I've ever seen. And so now looking at it here, that's the bar line.
Yep.
I've never seen one do that. And so I'm thinking just what you were saying, that this is laying over on that sole. It's been there a long time. And now it's finally come to a place where it can be removed. And so it's so next to that sole and meshed into that sole that when I did that, yeah, there's that right, everything's right there. And so I'm thinking, this is a good thing. You know,
Uh,
this is a
Yeah,
good
and
thing.
the whole thing is the blood didn't keep coming.
No, well, I didn't keep going either. It probably would have, you
Yeah,
know,
but
I was like, oh,
you know,
stop.
yeah, but you know yourself, even if you scrape yourself, usually the blood will kind of keep
Yeah, it
seeping out a
warns
little
you.
bit.
It warns you, you know,
Yeah.
that you're getting close to and stuff when you just scrape your skin.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it was like. Like I just, and it, see, it wasn't right in here either. Wasn't there. It was on the edges right here. See, and technically shouldn't have been on this edge. This would have been
No.
the outer bar wall.
Yeah.
See,
If
if
the
yeah,
other side, okay, I can see you hitting sole,
yeah,
but not on both sides.
yeah, it was just, it was weird. Now there was a pocket, that pocket here, okay? And if I'd have got any closer there would have been blood. But okay, so anyway, so
It'll be interested. It'll be interesting to see those areas in a week.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And I'd like to compare the sole markings here to the sole markings are, listen a minute, let me go over here. New share. Let's do this. Let's take this foot here and I'm gonna take a picture of, take it and a picture of the other one and compare. And we'll compare. Just a second here. I'll put them together, take a picture, and then I'll show you. Huh. Interesting, interesting. I'm seeing interesting stuff here. Just a second. Okay. Gotta take a picture. Okay, let me share, new share. Okay, this is the two comparisons. I may not have made this one on the one side big enough, but still, Totally different foot we got going on here. Even the gray markings. Now, did I tell you that his soles used to be completely gray? In all the old pictures, his soles are completely gray. The stress, and his feet were black. Well, the front ones were black. The stress from having his feet trimmed out to such a strong degree destroyed the pigmentation in the sole and changed the pigmentation in the wall to where now his feet are striped. They are cream, brown, and black, and cream, brown, and black striped. Isn't that interesting? So
Yeah.
it affects the pigment and stuff. So anyway,
Linda,
Or would that,
when is the left pictures from?
this is from 2019.
Okay.
And
Wow.
yeah, quite a difference there.
Is he sore now after this last, what you did today?
No,
Is he sore?
no, I imagine if he steps on something with this thin sole in the
Yeah.
heels, he'll go ow. But no,
Yeah.
he walked right off. But I'm in grass, you know, I'm in
Yeah.
sod. Like this isn't something that I would do and then you know, go for a ride in the desert. You know,
Mhm.
I wouldn't even ride him for a couple days if I was restoring his foot and did this. I would wait a day or two, and then if I was going to ride him, I'd use boots. You know,
Yeah.
if I was going on any hard terrain. But this horse, remember, he's not being ridden now, and he is in a pasture. Okay, so you have to adapt your trim to suit and fit your lifestyle. See, I can do more on him because he stands around. Well, he's got an acre. He wanders all over this acre. He eats grass. He hangs out in his barn with the pony, you know. But no, he didn't limp off. He didn't. No, he's sound. But I'm sure if he stepped on something with this thin sole that's now being uncovered in these heels, he'd like go ow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I had a decent boot, I would put a boot on him for a couple days. But all I've got is those dial-up boots that screwed up his feet. So I'm not going to worry about it. I got a big grassy pasture, and he's got a real soft footing in his barn and stuff like that. So, but you know, anyway, that's that. So I think that's pretty interesting. Let me label this. Now, see, I don't know, is anybody that's here, were you at the one I did last week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
I-
well, see, I went through and showed a lot of pictures. See, unfortunately, that episode did not record the volume. So let me see. July 222. Oh, wait a minute. 2. What am I going to call this? Progress. Okay. Okay, so we're going to end this. I'm going to take you through some of the pictures of the changes that the feet have gone through. Before we do that, though, I want to show you something to remind you of something in case you hadn't gotten this information before. And that is what's really going on with these feet, which I called originally spooling. NOPQRS. Spool. Here we go. Start here. Okay, share. Okay, there you go. Okay, you see how I put these little spools here? Okay, what is going on is as the heels are being trimmed out and the capsule's getting smaller, the true foot, the inner foot, the parts of the inner foot, the anatomy of the back of this foot is being pulled in to here, like that. And then this periople that grows right here grows up and over everything like that and just ties it into one neat little package. And here's an example too. Okay, this is not my dissection, somebody else's dissection. Okay, they took a thin layer off and they thought this was thrush. It's not thrush. This is where the bulb has literally been pulled and curled in like that into this part of the frog. Now see that right there? That's periople. Right there. So now look at how the bulbs are curving in like this. Okay, see the crack there? They're up inside there. The anatomy of the back of that foot, the horse's foot, has been pulled and wrenched around and shoved up in there. And then this periople skin that grows here has grown over it like that to cover it up. Okay, so, you know, this wasn't a very good simulation that I did here, but what it does is it shortens the foot and it will pull all this into here like that. All this anatomy here, it literally bends it around and pulls it into here. And then the periople down here all grows over it to form a kind of a funky false frog. Okay, so here's my horse's foot. Okay, this was about it. I'm not sure when this was. I have some other pictures. We'll figure it out. Look at the periople skin. See those lines there going that way? Okay, because it grows in layers like this. It grows in tubules and in layers. Okay, so when I first started figuring this out, I started taking a knife and starting to dig this out more. And that's when I seen that what looked like a nice, neat little package in a frog was actually these bulbs pulled clear into here. Just a minute. So this is what's going on with all of our horses to one degree or another. See that? This part here curled around into there. This part here just pulled into there. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. Just a second. I'll find my horse's feet and we'll just go through kind of a series of changes so that you will be aware of some of the stuff that's going to happen. And he just felt better the whole time. You know, but see, I've been trying to grow in my heels for a long time. Not only that, but as stuff uncurled, new buttress started growing amazingly. And let's see here. Where are we at? Okay. Just a second. I gotta go find my horse's pictures. Okay. I don't quite know where to start, but I'll start here. And you're just gonna see the stuff that goes on in that central sulcus with that periople and them bulbs being literally twisted into the center. Wait a minute. Hold on. New share. Okay, so when was this? Just a minute here. Okay, so this is in January. Now, last year, I did this deal where I booted 1 foot and I removed that periople, and I'm pretty sure I've showed you all the picture of how the cartilage expanded. Have you all seen that?
Yep.
Anybody? Huh? Have
Yep.
you? Okay. So then I come back to start doing this experiment again. Now look here. You see all that big glob of stuff there? That is periople. Okay. And again, where's the periople supposed to be? It's supposed to be only on the outside. It's not supposed to be clear up into here. And stuff like that. So I started trimming that out, getting all that out of there. And it was interesting. The color of the skin and frogs started changing. The frogs started getting longer. The apex started moving. The quality of the bars started changing. You know, and I was paying attention, what is going on back here? Because I'm trying to release these cartilages and then grow in the heels back here. Okay, so this was, well, I've got the dates on most of these. Okay, this was January, February, this was March. And so this was a comparison, or no, this is January, February, March 21 to compare to February 22. Okay, so this would have been during the wet season. And you see how it in the wet season, you can really see what's going on. I mean, look at that. You see how that was just curled in, pulled in there. And then here's that periople grows into a big glop in the center here. It's like as the heels are trimmed out, it's kind of stripping out the true frog that grows in here. And so the periople pulls in there and kind of takes its place. See, quite a bit difference. What amazed me was the way the skin of the periople changed, the texture of the skin. And so I'm taking this, making a central sulcus, you know, carving that out while I'm using a grinder. And this is what it looks like. This was the year before. What it looked like. Again, that is all periople, except there might be a piece of frog there. I'm not sure what that was, but and so this was, again, this is February. All right, see, it looks completely different now. Just a minute here. Okay, hold on, because I want to show you a comparison of now, what that looks like. Well, this is from the last before the trim, but you can see that the periople changed color. When I first started releasing it, it turned that brown color. And then so there must have been this healing process going on with that, is all I can figure. And now see, the back of the foot looks like this. And another thing that happens is when your frog is all dead and petrified, the frog lips and the frog corium, you know, I showed you the picture, you see how it stands up. Well, it gets all smashed up into the foot. But once that's released, it starts to kind of plump out like what you see here. And so they talk about, well, frog contact, right? Well, when this horse steps down, this all pushes apart and this goes down to the ground like that. That's what how it's supposed to be. It's not just supposed to be wham on the ground, 100% dead frog no flexibility whatsoever. So, okay, new share. Okay, so again, I'm just paying attention to what's going on back here because I want all this to come back too. And, it's one thing after the next, trying to figure out. I'm just comparing from the year before. Quality of my hoof wall got completely better. These are before trim pictures. And so the quality of the hoof capsule from one year to the next with releasing the frog has totally changed. See, that is all periople. Clear into the frog sulcus. Now, again, this was in February, okay? But I wanted you to see just some of the change that the foot went through. Again, this is when the foot hasn't been trimmed in a while, and it's been wet here for weeks. See, but look here, look at the difference in the bulb, because see, it was around the same time of year and it had been wet here for weeks as well when I was doing this, and I had gotten all that out of the sulcus and was releasing the frog and things like that. So this is just a periople frog, basically. Here I started getting real frog, but the best was yet to come. Again, look at that goop in there. This is 2012 when I was totally trimming the heels out of the horse, and the part of the frog that should be up behind the frog is now totally pulled underneath it to where it's all the same. Well, there's barefoot trimming in all its glory. Here, this is February. Again, I'm working on, your feet will go through ugly stages. Don't let that deter you. And again, this was 2012. I never could figure out what that was, why that looked like that. See, but that's periople growing down and under the foot. Again, 2012. What a difference, huh? But again, this is still from February. I'm not sure when that was. That had been 2012 or something, but again, heels are trimmed out of this horse. Remember I told you his soles were gray? See there? Again, so I'm just, really getting a start on this here in February. And understanding what needs to be done, that all this needs to be trimmed out so that this part of the bulb can be released and come out. And at the time, I didn't even realize how curled in my heels actually were. See that, how different this cartilage can look? Okay, so this is the foot I keep showing you. Okay, and again, this was from February when I started releasing that, and the color that this turned brown, and there was like brown in the sole, and the frog, it was just really weird. And so I can only imagine that that is some sort of healing that has been going on in this frog and periople and in the foot from getting all that garbage out of there that was hidden there, right there. Because the whole quality of everything on the foot changed. See, I didn't realize here how curled in these heels were, but here, now that you start straightening out, look at how the wall goes in like that. But see, that's changing a lot. Those are coming out. Okay, so I told you about, Now this dead frog has the frog corium itself like smashed down and bound in the foot. But here, see that what you're seeing there is the frog corium being released and kind of pooching out. That's the only way I can describe it, is pooching. So just comparing, again, you're going to want to take that periople out, clear up into here and between those bulbs. Now, look here at this deal if you get worried about that. It's very deep. It's very deep. See that? It's deep between here. So, you know, don't worry.
We couldn't see your picture. if
Oh,
you changed it.
crud, darn it. Good thing you're there to remind me. Just a second, I'm gonna try and find the good picture. Okay, see that? It's real deep in there, so don't be afraid. Now, some people have contracted heels to where there's nothing hardly there except a thin layer of pale periople binding everything up. And so, you know, I'm not sure how that's going to work for you trying to get that stuff out of there. But I think as you start trimming this frog down to pliable frog and different parts, and you get up behind here as much as you can, that it will start to release. See? So, new share, where are we at here? Okay, so see what I mean? Getting up in between there, because it's deep up between there. There's, and one thing too, I found out, sometimes you'll find frog that's probably been there for years. See, nothing's ever grown, nothing's ever moved. It's just been sitting there for years. Because unless dead frog is worn off or removed, it'll just stay there. It will just stay there. Here you can really see how the bottom of the foot is kind of pooching out because that anatomy is being released in there from that old dead hard frog. So I keep taking this out, right here. And what amazed me was the color, how it all turned brown. Like the whole foot went through this change, because it's not that color now. Now, here's something you need to know too. The apex of the frog will start pulling back because, you know, that frog's been scrunched up. So it's going to start to let loose and elongate. And so the apex of your frog, your whole foot will shift. The apex of your frog will start moving. You'll have to reestablish it on occasion. See, this always wants to keep growing back here. You just got to keep at it until you get all that out of there through growth cycles. See, through growth cycles. And so then one day I came out and I'm like, what the heck, you know, because the sole, the whole sole looked bruised, like what you see here. Well, okay, so look here. I want to explain something here. You see this covering on this foot? This is like a Dr. Scholl's gel pad sock. Okay, so all this moves. And when this frog is pushed forward, well, it pushes into this corium and everything pushes this corium forward. So you're releasing this frog, you're releasing the heels. Everything is wanting to see. This is the thing you got to know too. This is all under pressure and wants to be corrected. Okay, just like if I shove my nose over to the side of my face and hold it with my finger, it does not want to stay there. I mean, I can hold it there forever. It's still not going to want to stay there. As I am letting up, it returns right to where it's supposed to be. Well, this foot is made out of the same materials, cartilage and fat. And so they're wanting to be where they're supposed to be. They're being bound and held by that hoof capsule. So you start making different boundaries and removing stuff that's been holding it there, and stuff starts moving. And so when this frog starts moving back and the heels and the bars and everything, it's releasing the sole corium. Oh, hold on here. I have a little coughing jag.
You must be on mute.
Sorry, there you go. How's that? Yep, I was. So that's my interpretation. What happened there, that all this is moving. And so that sole corium is being released. And so it's showing this bruising here, because he was never sore, not one time. And the frog is starting to do weird things. And so now I know that this was still a layer of periople over this whole thing. It was a layer of periople combined with frog. And so finally it started wearing away to where this it's what I have here is like sole corium. There's big pretty boy. These are those boots that I put on him. Okay, so I wanted to get moisture to the feet, so I put these boots on him with socks, and it pressed into the coronary band here. This was February 1st. Okay, okay. Pressed into the coronary band, and it made grooves in the foot, which you'll see here in a little while, in a little bit. Again, I'm just showing comparisons. So this would have been where I trimmed out that stuff, and this would have been later. This is from 2011, just to show you, and this is from 2018 during the wet season. Like, you look at that, who would know, right? Who would know? That's just one big fat clump of periople, and it's not a frog stay. And here, of course, there's periople in the heels, totally trimmed out from 2011. So again, this is all just, I have these under different names. Now, this is a wild horse that I do that I wasn't able to do for 8 months. And I was all bummed out. I thought, oh no, you know, his feet are going to be so distorted. But when I got there, what I found was he shows us how this happens. It can happen with the heels getting trimmed out and the back of the foot being pulled down, or it can happen with the foot getting long and collapsing forward. All this periople started growing down like this. The bulb skin was being pulled down like that. As this is happening, this periople here is going to work to stitch the bulbs together. See, this is, for some reason, this works to preserve that horse's life and to hold that hoof capsule on as long as possible. So, so this is that wild horse, and this is my horse. Here, you see the stitch, you see the periople rope right here. See, it's all false frog, and this is all a combination of periople mixed with frog corium. And so Bracy Clark, who was a vet back in the 1800s, and he made a cardboard hoof you can find online that they found at the Royal Veterinary College. And he did this hoof research, and he was considered very eccentric, and nobody listened to him. Okay, but now they want to quote him all over the place, but they still don't understand it. But he didn't know it, but his hoof was deformed. See the stitches right there? See how the vertical part of the frog that should be up here is pulled clear down under here. He didn't know that. He never got to examine wild feet. He never saw where they have a frog clear up in the back of the foot, clear here and clear up behind the heels. He only saw feet. He got to see one horse that wasn't trimmed and shod till it was like 5 years old. And he made this copy off that foot. And so he thought that was the natural foot, the true foot. What he didn't realize was that no, in England, you're not going to wear the feet out like you need to wear them out to keep them trimmed up. And so they're going to get distorted. They're going to get long. It's going to pull the bulb skin down and the heels forward and bind the back of the foot and stitch them up just like that. Just like that there. See the stitches? And so, so I put that here to show you how this happens, how these bulbs, how everything gets pulled into here and stitched together. And so he made it look just like stitches, which I found was very interesting. What is that? 1820. Okay, so I can see that my cartilages are getting straighter like they're supposed to. Again, you got to keep taking this out. And what's going to happen is this is all coming out like this and pulling out. And this whole frog is pulling back to where it's supposed to be anatomically. When was this? March. So this is March. And again, I'm just keeping a record. Now, look here. See how the apex changed? Right here. Why is that? Because it's this whole frog is pulling back like that. So the apex is going to change where it's at. So I trimmed it down. Now look at that. Interesting, huh? So you got to be ready to move that apex. So then we come to this situation here. And I see this deal here. Now, up to this point, I don't really realize just how much this is going on. So I come to trim and I see this and so I cut it off. And I take my grinder and I clean up the frog. And you see this periople here, this was feeding periople that went clear up into here. See it? There's the lifeline right there, and it's feeding all of this. So that day, I cut the lifeline right there, that little nodule, and I didn't really know what to do with that. So this would have been 3/11. This is a little over a month later. You see what's developed, the difference here. Okay. And so I clean it up with my grinder. I cut that little link there. And then I picked it up and I've got a space, a gap between here. This is alive. Okay, so this is when I'm figuring out that this periople is depositing a layer over the part of the frog that grows the frog, which is the frog corium. Okay, so there's another picture of it. I didn't know what to do with it that day, so I just left it there. And I also didn't realize at the time that this is the same thing right here. So this is what I would call under here, cornified frog corium that is not growing true frog. This is all periople. So the next day, I cut it off. Now you can see, you know what you're seeing through there, that pink? You're seeing frog corium. See, if we were to go back and look, see the color of it? That's the color of it. As long as you don't get too close, it don't bleed. And you see it like it really is. That's the color of frog corium. See it? Right there, right there. So
how close is too close?
well, you can, it changes, frog changes color. You know, frog changes color. Like if you look over here, now this here was frog corium that had a light cornified layer over it because the frog, because of the periople that had covered it for so long. Okay, but then on the sides here, you have a mixture of what is real frog and periople, because see, this periople skin is still growing like this. So this is a mixture where, to me, the horn tubule have kind of mixed together to kind of combine this combination of whatever this is. And so over here, the frog, you see different colors in the frog. See how it's kind of light colored and white, and then it gets darker. Now, periople get white, so there's some of that in there too. But what you do is you can take it down to where you press it with your finger and it gives. And if you see, the closer you get, the whiter it will often get. And you'll learn to tell the difference. If you get too close, it will, okay, just like if you scraped your skin, it is going to leach a drop of blood to warn you that you are too close to stop. Okay, but it's not gonna like squirt blood out or anything like that. It gets softer. You can definitely feel it, because then look at this thing here now. Okay, I can push in on that. You know, I can push in on that with my thumb. It's the thickness of skin. You know, maybe twice the thickness of skin, and underneath it is digital cushion. So it's soft, you know. So if it has a layer of frog on it, the frog should be supple, flexible, and you should be able to push down and feel that cushion like that. Does that make sense? Did I answer that question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. You know, it's just something you have to learn and practice, you know. I can explain it. I trim according to how I palpate it, you know. If it's real hard, I take it off. If it's pliable, I may leave it. You'll eventually learn to tell the difference to where thick and pliable, thin and pliable. The color, what's going on with the color of it? Is it getting lighter colored? You're getting closer. So I'm just showing here. So this here, if everything was right, this frog down here would be up here. So this frog still has to move all the way back and come clear up here.
Different picture.
Oh, sorry. Let me go back. Okay, so this frog, or this isn't frog. Your frog is down here. This is supposed to be clear up here. See, it was all pulled down under the foot. This anatomy that's right here is still pulled down somewhat to here. So this has to come totally back and up into the foot and fill in with frog. This has to be frog, not just periople. Now, a covering of periople will cover the back of it, but what is right here must still come up to here. I hope you're getting a good idea of how much you can take out here.
It's reassuring because I took a whole chunk out of Dolly today. She'd been out in the wet grass and it was all white and it was soft and it just begged to be taken off, so I did.
Good. That's awesome. Okay, so I had you know, that deal happen and I trimmed down the frog and this is what grew back right here within a couple weeks. Let's see, oh, okay, let's see. 5'6", okay, yeah, 416 to 5'6", within about, I don't know, is that 2.5 weeks? Look at the frog that grew back. And the texture was wholly, completely different. And not only that, but if you notice here too, you see I have new heel buttress growing already right in here. New heel buttress that never grew before there. The skin was attached down here, but this frog has pushed the foot up and it has opened up some of the heel buttress corium to where I had new heel buttress growing, and the frog, I don't even know how to explain the texture of it, was so different from anything I had ever felt before. And so this is what it looks like. It was raining pretty good. So what did I have? That's 12.1. I did a comparison to 5.6. 5.6. Now I'm looking at this and I'm going, what are these? What are these little lumps here? Well, those little lumps are, where is it? Oh, well, it would figure I've lost my other foot. Okay, I showed you the frog. Maybe I could close out a couple of windows here. Hold on.
I've seen those little lumps on Dolly's frogs and I've whacked them off.
Yeah, well, oh man, this really aggravates me that I closed that. Maybe I didn't. Let me see. I must have too many windows open. So hold on just a second. Maybe it'll show up now. Hold on. Well, this stupid darn thing. It's not letting me show. Just a second. I need to close some windows. Okay, don't want to close that one. Well, this stupid thing. Huh. I have to close some windows. It's not letting me. Oh, show all windows. There we go. Show all windows? I didn't know I could show all windows. Okay, let me try this. Let me see if this will work. Okay, do you see a big foot? Do you see the inner foot?
No, no.
Nope.
I see a black
Always-
screen and your
Okay,
mailboxes.
there we go. Okay, so I'm looking at those lumps and I go, what is that? Well, that's this right here. This area right here. That's where that lump is. Do you see what I'm saying? It has released the frog corium and now it's growing these funky lumps because this part of the frog corium was able to come up when I released all that periople. See? Right here. Except it's not where it's supposed to be. So it's still forward. It's still pulled under the foot. Okay, Sam, right here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but it's all supposed to be back here because again, look at how this curves in like that. Not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to go in like that. This is all supposed to be clear out behind the foot back here. So when was that? Okay, so 5/6/22, couple months ago. It's just growing a completely different kind of frog. So this is what it was. This is several comparisons. After I got that weird periople flap thing off and all that, it grew this frog here. Okay, then it grew this frog here. And then this here is me trimming that frog there. And that's what I do to trim it. See, I make a central sulcus. I trim out the back here. I thin it all down here, cleaning this groove out here because I don't want this frog to grow and get thick because I want all of this to still come out and move totally back. See, we're restoring the whole back of the foot because it's supposed to look, I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. Just a minute here. When you see what it's supposed to look like, hold on here. Okay. Okay, you see this? This is a wild foot of a 3-year-old mare. Now she's got a big, huge cartilage here. It's a blurry picture. He could have done a better job. Okay, here's the coronary band right here and the periople band, okay, which goes from here to here, 2 inches. 2 inches, 2 inches of frog, clear way up between the bulbs. Remember I showed you that one picture I said, this frog is supposed to come more back and then come up between the bulbs. Okay, so look at the frog, how it's totally behind the heels and totally supports the very back of the foot. And the thing is here, you're not going to see this indentation like we see on all these horses, where it looks like, well, 2 bulbies, you know. Okay, this is her front foot. Look at the frog here, how it fills up the back of the foot here. See, that's why I say that frog has to move all the way back to where those little bumps are clear back here, supporting the whole back of the foot. See? So anyway, so this is where I'm at in my trim and getting those bulbs to unbind, as you say, or unwind. See, but there's still, see this indentation here? the frog here. I want all this to move back here more. I want this part that's real frog right here. I want it to move way up between the bulbs right here, because I know that that's where it's supposed to be now. And then what'll happen is these heels will move back. They will uncurl. The bars will be in the correct spot, and the sole will fill up here in the sole platform. So that would be the true foot of the horse, or the best foot that you could get. You know what I mean? So keep taking off that periople, because it will keep trying to grow and sneak under your foot there as long as that frog is displaced. Like here, I saw, here's periople skin, and I can see a little periople skin sneaking up to try and go over that frog sulcus again. See it there? Again, this is when I had the heels all trimmed out, and this is just a, I guess, I'm not sure when I did that. Okay, now look at the difference. See how they were wound up into there? This is all periople skin, so you know that it's growing all in there and covering the frog. See? And now, that was when I started removing it. Remember, it turned brown? But now look at the color of it. See, it's totally changed. And look at how poochy my frog is. Poochy. Extended. I could find a more scientific excuse. So here's another thing. So, okay, this is new heel buttress that grew. As the foot unwound and went up that way, it deposited heel buttress into the capsule. Now you see this ring, that was from those boots. But the good thing it did was it gave me a record. This is the wild foot. This is Valor's foot. It gave me a record of how fast my wall was growing. Okay, here you go. So again, that happened January, February, March, actually happened in February. And now it's almost totally grown out. So in less than a year, in about 7 months, I've totally grown out a hoof capsule. So that's another thing. Your hoof capsule will start growing quicker. Okay, well, I think that's all I got for today. Does anybody want to ask anything, or did you have anything else? Are you understanding kind of where I'm going with this? I mean,
Yep.
Okay.
It's making sense. It makes sense.
Okay, good. Because and see, some of you gals have been here a long time, so you know. so we've seen these things, you know, and I mean, I've been seeing this thing going on between those bulbs for a long time and wondering, what is that, you know, and stuff like that. So anyway, all right. Okay, well, hey, you guys have a great week, and be talking to you on Messenger or whatever. And
To you on Saturday.
yeah. Yep. Is it Saturday that I do
Yep,
that?
Saturday's our next one.
Okay, well, I'll be there.
That's what I have.
Yeah, you know me though, once in a while I forget what I'm doing and everybody shows up, where's she at? So if somebody can remind me before
Sure
that day,
will.
like here's the deal. I didn't even realize I forgot that I made one for Wednesday, you know, until people started going, oh, see you Wednesday. I'm like, huh, oh, okay. You know,
Yeah, I have every Wednesday and every Saturday for a while.
awesome, good. Well, I'll be here. Remind me, would you? I don't want to go get
Somebody
kicked out of
reminds me.
Girl Scouts again. See that? See, I've got PTSD from getting kicked out of brownies. because when I was a kid, we were on some sort of field trip, the brownies. Well, it was close to my home. And so me and this other girl forgot we were at a brownie meeting because we were doing a scavenger hunt. And so I just went home. Well, my God, they were searching everywhere and stuff like that. And then when they finally found us, we're just playing over at my house. Man, that brownie leader, she was pretty mad and stuff. You're kicked out of brownies. So, all right. Well,
Well, that was not nice.
no, it wasn't. It was just a total innocent forgot. We
I
got
mean,
to
a
looking
brownie is a little kid.
yeah, I know. I think I was like
You prob-
8,
Yeah, I was gonna say probably 8 years old.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So
Well,
yeah,
that's what happens when they turn you loose on a scavenger hunt.
that's right. That's exactly right. We got down there by the swings and we got on the swings and then, well, it was close to home. Hey, I got some Barbies. Let's go,
Mhm.
So anyway, oh well. So yeah, I don't want to forget a meeting. I'll have to, if anybody can remember, you can remind me. All right.
I
Well, you're all
certainly will, Linda.
wonderful. Thank you
All
for
right.
sitting here and listening to this. And I hope
Thank you,
things work
Linda.
out for you and your horse.
Thanks a lot.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.